Hello, welcome to video training. We'll be covering Accounts Payable Level 1, Chapter 1, adding payable information and adding and changing the user-defined data. From the main menu, let's select Accounts Payable. When you first go into Accounts Payable, first thing the payable system will do to check to see if there are any past bills. If there are past bills, like in this case, there are 11 bills that are past due. It will actually, you can say yes and print out a bill report. It'll tell you the individual invoices that are past due. We'll be covering that on a later chapter. This is the main menu for accounts payable. What we're going to be covering today and concentrating on today is adding vendors. Now you can add vendors through posting, where you can put vendors in, put bills in, pay bills, and you can do that in one place. And that's usually the most convenient place to do it. In the posting section, you can just add vendors, put bills in, pay bills, do everything in one spot. But what we're concentrating here is somebody that just got the software. And typically what dealers want to do is they want to just enter all the vendor information. They want to put all the vendor information in. They want to actually use the system, play with the system, test the system out. And then at some point in time, they're going to want to go in and set their balances. So let's go on that premise that all we really want to do right now is just put our vendor information in, and then we'll go in and set balances at a later time. We're going to be using vendor file maintenance, vendor maintenance. This is our standard maintenance screen. Obviously, you've seen this before with next, add, change, backwards, lookup. There are a couple of different ways of looking up vendors. Number one is we have a standard Windows dropdown, which has all my payable vendors that I have in the system. If I want to add a new, I'd select Add New. We also have a lookup button, standard lookup button. You have a keyword where you can type in anything you want, and it'll find that, whether you type in a state, whether you type in, whatever you type in, it's going to search it. You can do it by name, where it searches by name. You can do it by account, where it puts it by account number. So let's concentrate on just adding some new vendors. To add new vendors, if you look at the drop-down, the first one is Add New Vendor. You can hit that by using the drop down, or if you just hit the space bar, it'll automatically default to Add New Vendor. We're going to hit the Enter key or the Tab key. It goes to vendor number. Vendor number is a 5-digit number. Obviously, you can't have two vendors with the same number. Most dealers just let the computer assign the number. You can type in whatever number you want. Obviously, if you type in a number that's out there, it'll display it. We're going to just hit the Enter key, and we're going to let the computer assign a number. The number is not very important because that's not usually how you want to look things up. Okay, what we notice now is the change button disappeared. Typically what it does on we're adding a new record, it says adding over here. And alpha is sort. Basically it's telling me, how do you want this sorted? Normally you're entering company names. For example, a company could be the supply shop. Do you want it sorted by the supply shop? So this is how you want it sorted alphabetically. Has nothing to do with how you look it up and look up, just how you want to sort it if you're running a report alphabetically. So let's just say I'm going to call this new. I'm going to hit the Enter key or the Tab, and let's just call this new account. And obviously it's preferable to put as much information as you can. You know, this is for your benefit. Telephone number obviously is very key. Dealer number, if it happens to be a dealer. Contact name that you may want to have here. Now, these fields get used on a regular basis. They're extremely important. Terms. When you're entering a bill for this account, when do you normally want to pay it? 5 days, 10 days, 30 days? What's going to happen when we enter bills? It is going to take the invoice date, add whatever we type in here, and assume that that's the date we want to pay it. So if in fact our terms are normally we pay within 30 days, maybe I want to make it 15. If you know you get a discount by prepaying, then obviously you'd want to set that. Now, keep in mind, when you're entering bills, you can override all this information. Normally, you may want to usually pay within 10 days, but there may be a certain bill that you're putting in where you just want to key in the date you want to pay it. And it may be the next day, it may be the time you're entering it. So all these things are just to make things a little bit easier. So this is normally what you want to do, not all the time, but most of the time, then put in 15 days. The next question is do you know the account number that when you're entering a bill you want this to go to with General Ledger? If you know the account number, you can select it. Now, many times when people are just starting to use the system and they're adding the payables, they may not have the General Ledger account number set up. So if you don't have it set up but you know the number, you can still type it in. If you do have your chart of accounts set up, and it's not necessary, you can go back later and it's relatively easy to do this later. You can select the field. It will list now all your accounts, and obviously you'd find the account that you want. This would typically be an expense account, and that's when I'm entering a bill, that's where it's going to default to go. Now obviously we can override that anytime we want. These are all just things that are making life easy. We can always override it. The next selection is GL multi-post. What we're going to just talk about that lightly. Multi-post is that there's two ways when you're entering bills that you want it to flow to General Ledger. Many times you just have one account. For example, if I was putting electric bill in, I may just have one expense account called electric bill. So when I'm putting my bill in, I just want that total bill to go to my electric account, expense account. Another method might be, look at, I'm posting to the electric company, but I have 5 different electric accounts. I have one for each department because maybe I want to get a profit and loss by department. So when I put a $1,000 bill in, I want 25% to go to my parts department, maybe another 25% to go to my new unit sales department, maybe 30% to go to my office expense account. And it'll automatically distribute that. So if you're going to be doing those types of things, when you get into General Ledger, pay attention to the section that says creating multi-post codes. If you're taking advantage of discounts, for example, if I had a bill that was $1,000 and maybe I get 10% off if I prepay or if I pay within a certain date, you may want to keep track of that. So you may want to enter the bill as 1,000 and you're only going to pay 900, and you want to know, well, why didn't I have to pay that other 100? So you're gonna, it's going to go to this discount account. If you're going to be doing that, you'd put the account number in. If it happens to be a standard rate, you'd put the rate in and it'll calculate it for you. This is a field that you would only use if this is a floor plan account. In other words, if this is a floor plan account, when you're posting things, you don't want it to use accounts payable. Usually floor plan accounts are accounts that are called floor plan accounts or line of credit, things like that. So this is going to override it so that when you're putting a bill in, it doesn't say, okay, this is an accounts payable. It's not accounts payable. It's a floor plan account. It would only be used for floor plans accounts. Next field here is compute sales tax. Many countries have to pay sales tax when you're purchasing products, regardless of who you're purchasing it from. For example, Canada happens to be one. Canada, whatever you're buying, you're paying sales tax. So if you're in a Canadian deal or you're in a country where on all your purchases you have to pay sales tax, then you check mark that. What the computer will do, it'll automatically calculate the sales tax for you. This over here, auto deduction. If you know this is an account, like for example, when you get your bank charges, you should have an account in your accounts payable system of your bank, so that when you're posting your bank charges, or maybe your electric bill is on an auto deduction. They automatically take it out of your account once a month. Well, if this is an account where most of the time you're paying bills or things are being paid, they're auto deductions, you're not writing checks for, you would check mark that. What that means is when I'm putting bills in, it will automatically default to an auto deduction rather than printing out a check. There again, it's just a default. You can override it anytime you want. But if most of the time when you're paying this account, it will be paid by an auto deduction, it makes it easier for you if you select it up front. You now put in all the information, hit F4. That now is added. Now if I want to add another one, hit the space bar, it will automatically default to add new. Hit the enter key, and now we can just type it again. So basically, you're going to, relatively simple. You're just going to add in all your vendors, put in as much or as little information as you want. Type in, these are the things that are important. Type in the account number if you know what it is, or leave it blank. If that's all you need to put in, which most of the time that's pretty much all you really need to do, you're going to hit F4. Now that's added in my system. Now, if I want to look something up, there again, this is a standard Windows drop-down. I can click on the arrow, or if I type in NEW, it goes right to that account. If I type in MAS, it goes to Massachusetts. So, whatever letter you type, it's going to go exactly where you want. If you're looking up a vendor, I can type in M, hit the Enter key. Here's my Mass Electric. Now, there's also some other information. You may look at this screen and you say, you know what I like? I like to have one place where I can keep track of everything. So if I need to make a phone call to this company, I know exactly who to call. I know what the telephone number is based on the department. Well, we have a user-defined template for every data file we have, and we've gone over this before. There's one for your customers, there's one for your products, there's also one for your accounts payable. Some people use it, some people don't. I'm just going to show you it's here. I select user-defined data. In this case, there again, the dark blue are fields that I told the computer, this is an additional information that I want to keep track of that I didn't see on that first screen, but it's important to me. So you, the customer, can go in and change the fields and add whatever fields you want, and we'll be going over that in a few minutes. In my case, I told the computer that I want to keep track of the email. So if I need to email this vendor something, I have it on file. I can select that button that says email, and it'll automatically put the email address in. Now my email address, this is a 20-character field. So I set my email address up so I can have up to a 60-character email address. If I want, I could make it longer by just spreading these fields together. I also said, look, I want to know the sales phone extension number. It's 4161. I want to know the sales contact. So if I have a sales question, I need to talk to Mary Long. If I have a billing issue, it's a different number, and I need to talk to Bob Jansen. If I have a warranty issue, I have a different number, and I need to talk to Bill Smith. So there again, you can create your own fields and keep track of whatever you wish to keep track of. This is true throughout the whole system as well as payables. There again, we're going to be covering this in a few minutes. You would actually key in whatever you want to key in here. You'd hit change, and now that's all tied to here. So if somebody said, I have a warranty problem, who do I need to talk to? You could look this up, click on user define, and know exactly who to call and what the number is. So obviously this works just like all our other stuff. If we hit next, 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 it's going to thumb right through all my vendors. If we hit backwards, obviously you can do a lookup by name, by keyword. If you find the company you're looking for, you can just select it. And you have your drop down, which has every single thing that you can type in. Now the name here is typing in whatever this is right here. So if I type in O, it's going to go to OMC. If I type in V, it's going to Verizon. Now, it went to Verizon. When I hit the Enter key is when it's going to look the record up. Now, there's also a button right here. Why are we here? If you want to email somebody, you can just hit email or bring up the email browser. You can attach whatever you want, maybe a report that you want to send, maybe a copy of a check. You can also select detail history. It'll show me every single bill that we've done for Verizon. At this point, we're just concentrating on adding vendors. We'll be going over this there again in the next chapter. Okay, so now we've added some vendors. The next thing we just want to talk about is we saw that user-defined template. And you may say, well, that's okay. I have a lot of things I want to keep track of, and I want to tell the computer what they are. Well, hit Workstation and System Options, and select the option that says Update User-Defined Data. Now notice what you see here are the fields that we saw on the previous screen. So you can change these things to be whatever you want. Now keep in mind, it's just like all the other stuff. Things that you're going to use a lot, you'd want on this left-hand side going down, because that's where the cursor goes. So when this screen pops up, it highlights here, and you'll navigate down like this. Things that you don't use very often, maybe occasionally you want to add some things that'd be way over here. So use the things that are most important to you at the top, least important at the bottom, as you go down, and you can add as many fields as you want. What you would do if you wanted to add a new field or change one of these things here, there again, you type in whatever you want to type in, whatever you want to call it. Each one of these description fields are 15 characters long, and each one of these are 20. They can be strung together. And we also have the standard keywords that you can use. For example, email, it knows it's an email address. So if you double click on it, it will automatically call your browser. Image will automatically attach pictures. Videos will automatically attach videos. Look at the documentation for your keywords. You make all your changes, you hit change, and now you've created your own user-defined template. Okay, this concludes chapter 1. Now we will move on.